Once upon a time, there was a kind young girl named Cinderella. She lived with her stepmother and 2 stepsisters. They were cruel to her and made her do all the housework. Cinderella cooked, cleaned, and took care of everything. Her stepsisters wore fine clothes and went to parties, but Cinderella had to wear old rags. Even though they were mean, Cinderella stayed gentle and kind. She dreamed of a better life every day. One day, the king announced a royal ball. The prince was searching for a bride. Every young woman in the kingdom was invited. Cinderella's stepsisters were excited and started getting ready. They bought new dresses and jewelry. Cinderella helped them prepare. She wished she could go too, but her stepmother laughed and said she could not attend. After the stepsisters left, Cinderella sat alone and cried. She wished with all her heart to go to the ball. Suddenly, a light appeared in the garden. A kind old woman stood there with a smile. She said she was Cinderella's fairy godmother. With a wave of her wand, everything began to change. The fairy godmother turned a pumpkin into a beautiful carriage. She turned mice into horses. She made Cinderella's rags into a stunning gown. On her feet appeared glass slippers. Cinderella was amazed and thankful. The fairy godmother warned her to return by midnight. Cinderella promised and climbed into the carriage. When Cinderella arrived at the palace, everyone stared. She looked like a princess. The prince saw her and was enchanted. He asked her to dance, and she agreed. They danced all night together. No one knew who she was. The stepsisters did not recognize Cinderella. They were too busy enjoying the ball. The prince only had eyes for Cinderella. He talked to her and smiled warmly. She felt happy and special. Time flew by quickly. Then the clock began to strike 12. Cinderella remembered the fairy godmother's warning. She quickly ran from the ballroom. The prince called after her, but she did not stop. As she ran, one glass slipper slipped off. She didn't have time to pick it up. The prince found it on the stairs. Cinderella's carriage turned back into a pumpkin. Her gown turned back into rags. She made it home just in time. Her stepmother and stepsisters soon returned. They talked about the mystery princess. Cinderella said nothing about the ball. The next day, the prince made a plan. He wanted to find the mystery girl. He traveled across the kingdom with the glass slipper. Every girl tried it on, but it didn't fit anyone. The prince kept searching with hope. At last, he came to Cinderella's house. The stepsisters pushed forward. They tried the glass slipper first, but their feet were too big. Cinderella waited quietly in the corner. The prince asked if she could try. Her stepmother laughed and said she was just a servant, but the prince insisted. Cinderella sat down and tried the slipper. It fit perfectly. Everyone gasped in surprise. The prince smiled and knew she was the one. Cinderella stood up and smiled. She reached into her pocket. She took out the other glass slipper. The prince was amazed. He asked her to marry him. Cinderella happily said yes. Her stepmother and stepsisters were speechless. The prince took Cinderella to the palace. A grand wedding was held. The whole kingdom celebrated their love. Cinderella wore a beautiful gown again. She felt like a true princess. The king and queen welcomed her warmly. She was finally happy. Cinderella forgave her stepmother and stepsister. She invited them to the wedding. They were surprised by her kindness. They promised to change their ways. Cinderella believed in giving second chances. She never let hate into her heart. Her kindness touched everyone. She became a beloved princess. People from all over came to see her. She helped the poor and the sick. She visited children and told them stories. The kingdom was filled with joy. Her love and kindness made a difference. The prince loved her deeply. They had many happy years together. They laughed and played in the royal gardens. They hosted balls and invited everyone. Cinderella always remembered her past. She stayed humble and kind. The palace was filled with light. She never took happiness for granted. Every evening, she looked at the stars. She thanked the fairy godmother in her heart. She hoped other girls like her would find happiness too. She believed in dreams and magic. She told children to always be kind. Her words became famous. She was more than a princess. Cinderella's story was told across lands. People passed it down to their children. She became a symbol of hope. Her name brought smiles to many faces. Her life showed that dreams can come true. She proved that kindness is powerful. Her heart shined brighter than her crown. The prince and Cinderella had children. They loved them dearly. They taught them kindness and courage. The children played in the same palace halls. They grew up hearing their mother's story. They wanted to be like her. Cinderella was proud of them. The royal family ruled with love. The people trusted and adored them. Festivals were held every season. Songs were written about Cinderella. She often danced with her children. She wore her glass slippers on special days. The magic lived on in her smile. Even the mice who helped her lived happily. They had families of their own. Cinderella always remembered their help. She made a special place for them in the garden. They told their children the tale too. The whole kingdom loved animals. Peace filled the land. As years passed, Cinderella grew older, but her heart stayed young. She watched her children grow. She shared her wisdom with them. The prince held her hand every night. They sat together under the stars. Their love never faded. They were a fairy tale come true. And so, the story of Cinderella lived on. Her courage inspired many girls. Her kindness softened many hearts. Her dreams gave hope to others. The kingdom remained bright and joyful. Every night, children listened to her tale, and they dreamed with smiles on their faces. No matter where you are, remember her story. Even when things seem hard, keep hope. Be kind, even when others are not. Believe in yourself and your dreams. One day, magic may find you too, just like it did for Cinderella, because kindness is the greatest magic of all.